we can actually give discounts that will be visible on the website, where you get a strike through or you get a special line item on Airbnb where people can actually see that they are in fact getting a discount. And that helps with conversion. And I have a strong suspicion it also helps a little bit with visibility, because Airbnb wants to show listings that convert. So having a discount like that that's visible, if that's going to help with conversion, then it's probably going to help with visibility too.
Welcome to Get Paid for Your Pad, the definitive show on Airbnb hosting, featuring the best advice on how to maximize profits from your Airbnb listing, as well as real-life experiences from Airbnb hosts all over the world. Welcome.
Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Get Paid for Your Pad. It is Monday, so we are back with an episode of Rev Up, where we give a look behind the scenes of what we are doing, learning, what's working, what's not working in revenue management. We have 38 portfolios with about 1,600 listings under our management now, and we've been doing this service for, I think we started in April last year, so it must be like a year and about 4 or 5 months. And so we've learned quite a lot. In these episodes, we want to share some of these learning lessons with you. Now, today, what I want to talk about is OTA merchandising. So if you've been listening to the podcast, then probably have heard me say this before, but I think there are 3 main categories of improvements that we typically see when companies apply for a service. We do like a revenue report, which we can do for you as well. If you go to freewyldfoundry.com/report, it's a free report. But essentially what we do is we look at your portfolio and we identify where the opportunities for improvement are and how much we think that we can improve or increase your revenue. We have a whole list of things that we look at. The list is pretty long. There's over like 50 things that we look at, but there's, high level, there's kind of like 3 categories where typically we see the most improvement possible. Number 1, that has to do with pacing, which I've talked about a lot on this podcast. Number 2 is minimum night stay settings. That's a really important aspect and make a huge difference on your revenue. But today, what I'm going to talk about is the third bucket, if you will, and that is OTA merchandising. So what is OTA merchandising?
What's up, guys? Eric here. And before we dive into this episode, I want to introduce you to our podcast sponsor, Freewyld Foundry. Freewyld Foundry is a revenue management service, white glove, high touch service for the top 1% short-term rental operators. We're currently managing over $60 million in bookings, 1,700 listings worldwide, and we are growing very, very quickly. Our RPM program is a done-for-you revenue management service, and I want to invite you, if you are a short-term rental operator that's doing $1 million or more, or maybe about 15 listings or more, head over to freewildfoundry.com and apply for one of our free revenue audit reports. This is where Jasper and the team will actually take a look at your pricing strategy, audit all of your Airbnb listings, and let you know if you're leaving money on the table. So this is free to everyone who's listening to this podcast. Head over to freewildfoundry.com and apply for your free audit report.
So what is OTA merchandising? Well, OTA stands for Online Travel Agency, and they're basically the platforms where you list your properties to get bookings, right? Airbnb, VRBO, or Verbo, as they call it these days. And we have booking.com, and there's a whole lot of other channels. Of course, we have Direct, and there's probably another 100 platforms out there that you could potentially list on. But today, I am going to focus on Airbnb, and the next episode, I will focus on booking.com. Now, Verbo and the other platforms typically don't offer a whole lot of merchandising options. But before I get into it, let me first explain what is merchandising. So if you've ever been to a store or a supermarket, which I'm going to assume that you have at some point in your life, and you've probably noticed that there's always a sale going on, right? There's always products that are on discount. And those products, the sellers, they make it pretty obvious that the product is on sale, right? You'll have like a huge like star, a red star with like price before, price after, whatever, right? They make it very, very clear that you're getting a deal. And the reason that they're doing that is because that works. People like to get a deal. Now, if you don't use OTA merchandising at all, then most likely, if I would book one of your properties last minute, let's say your base price is like 200 or something, as your minimum price is at 79, and I'm looking at the last minute stay, and so I'm seeing the price of 79. Let's just assume that you dropped it all the way to your minimum, and so I'm going to book your place for 79. Obviously, I know that I'm getting a deal because I know how people price on Airbnb, but for somebody who's never used Airbnb, they're just going to go on the website and look for places and make a choice. They don't necessarily are going to understand that they are getting essentially, if you go from 200 to let's say 80, that's like 120, that's like 60% off. The booker will not understand or might not understand that they're getting a deal. That's where OTA merchandising comes in. We can actually give discounts that will be visible on the website, where you get a strike through or you get a special line item on Airbnb where people can actually see that they are in fact getting a discount, and that helps with conversion. And I have a strong suspicion it also helps a little bit with visibility, because Airbnb wants to show listings that convert. So having a discount like that that's visible, if that's going to help with conversion, then it's probably going to help with visibility too. So what I want to talk about today is all the different discounts that you can give on Airbnb. There's a couple that are pretty simple. Those are like the weekly and the monthly discounts. Those are discounts that most of the operators that apply for a service are already using. And so typically they're using weekly and monthly, and that's about it. But there's other discounts. There's length of stay discounts that are shorter than a week. So you can even do a length of stay discounts for 2 nights if you want to. And then there's early bird discounts. So you can give a discount if people book far in advance. And there are the Airbnb custom promotions. Now, if you are a enthusiastic and experienced Airbnb user, then you probably will say, well, isn't there a third discount, which is called the last minute discount? And that's true. I'm going to share my screen here in a second. I'll do my best also to walk you through in the audio of what I'm doing. So I'm going to the calendar and I'm clicking on one of my listings, and then I'm clicking on price settings, and then when I scroll down there's a button that says more discounts, and if I click on that you should see that there's 3 different discounts. There's the early bird, the last minute, and the trip length discounts. Now the last minute discount is a little bit unique because when you add that discount, it's not going to give you an extra line item on the price breakdown, and I think that's the most powerful one. So the last minute discount, I don't know how powerful that one is. Now, when you talk to an Airbnb account manager, they will always say that you should use it. I think the reason for that is that Airbnb account managers, they're not necessarily concerned with your revenue necessarily. I mean, they might say that they are, but in the end of the day, they're instructed by Airbnb to tell you to do the things that Airbnb wants you to do. Now, sometimes the things that Airbnb wants you to do are also the things that will actually maximize your revenue. But when you talk to an Airbnb account manager, you always have to take their advice with a grain of salt, because obviously they're wearing 2 hats. So I don't know why, but for some reason, the last minute discount doesn't give a price line item on the price breakdown, and I'll show in a minute like what it looks like. But according to Airbnb account managers, it's still good to use that discount because they're saying that it will give you more visibility. Well, I think that might be true, because if you give, the reason that Airbnb loves when you use these discounts is because they know that these discounts are unique to Airbnb. If you discount your property in Price Labs, that's great, but that price is going to go to booking.com, to your direct, to any other platform that you're on. But if you are giving a discount directly on Airbnb, then Airbnb knows that that discount is not necessarily going to be on other channels. So they really like that. So possibly the last minute discounts might offer you some visibility benefits, but I want to focus on the trip length discount, or length of stay discounts, like I like to call it, and the early bird discount and the Airbnb custom promotion, because those are pretty powerful. So I'm going to share my screen now so that I can show you exactly what it looks like when you actually apply these discounts. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you can go to YouTube and you can go to Freewyld Foundry. We have a new YouTube channel now where we list all of our podcasts. We have some other content on there as well. So check it out, on YouTube, Freewyld Foundry. And Freewyld is with Freewyld. So you're looking at my screen here, you're looking at the calendar, you can see the early bird, last minute, and trip length discount. Now I'm gonna pull up the front end here of one of our cabins here, Black Mountain. And so what I'm going to show you is that we use the length of stay discounts for any stay over 2 nights. And that's a real discount. We're not like doing a markup on Airbnb. We're just rather have a 3-night stay than a 2-night stay. And so we're giving a small discount for like a 3-night stay or like a 4-night stay and so forth. So if I select here, if I select 6th to 9th of October, you will see that we are getting this merchandising marketing benefit. Airbnb is now showing that we're getting this $73 discount. That is what I think helps with the conversion because everybody likes to get a deal. Now, if I were to book a little bit further out, let's say I want to book somewhere in December, then you'll see that there's the early bird discount. So essentially, the way that we have it set up, anytime you book with us on Airbnb, you're always going to get a little bit of a discount, unless you book a 2-night stay less than 30 days out. Okay, so the 1 nights and the 2 nights, like we don't discount those, but any 3-night stay or longer or any stay that you book at least a month in advance, we will give you a small discount. Okay, so that's length of stay and early bird. Now the way that we apply this, because you could set this up throughout the entire year, but you can also do it with rule sets, and we like to do it with rule sets because then sometimes these discounts stack, and if you have a length of stay discount then an early bird discount, then the discount might be a little bit too much. So what we like to do is use these rule sets here. You can see on my screen, apply these discounts directly on the calendar. Also, we typically don't put those discounts on for too long, maybe like the next 6 months or so, because, next year, we don't know what's going to happen next year. We don't necessarily want to give too many discounts like too far out, but, for the next few months, adding those discounts, I think can really help. That is when it comes to the rule sets. Now, if you want to know how to use those rule sets, they're very simple to use. I won't go too deep into it, but essentially with rule sets, you can choose the discounts, you can give it a color, you can give it a name, you can select different periods of the year if you want to just test it out on 1 unit or just for a couple months. There's a lot of flexibility that you have with these rule sets. Plus, it gives a little bit of color to your Airbnb calendar, which is kind of fun. So that's the length of stay and early bird discounts. Now let's go into the Airbnb custom promotions because those are a little bit tricky. There's a lot of confusion around how to use them. So I'm going to explain that in a bit more detail. I'm going to go to my calendar here for Black Mountain is our unit. As you can see here, we're looking at the month of September and we have some open dates. Actually, we don't have a lot of open dates. Actually, I don't think we have a lot of open dates in September, so I might have to go. Okay, so I think we do have some open dates here, but as you can see, it's not allowing me to add a custom promotion. I'm not 100% sure why. We'll see that sometimes these custom promotions, you won't be able to add them. There's all sorts of conditions, and sometimes you just can't do it, right? So let me go to October here. So October here, you can see we can add some custom promotions. So I'm just going to select this day here, Monday the 6th. I'm going to click on next. Okay. So now what you see is a lever here that we can use to determine like how much the discount we want to give. And what you also see is that there's an original price. Now the discount will be given based on that original price. So you can see the original price is $208. The price that we are pushing from Price Labs is $199, right? So that means that I can give like a 5% discount and the price is not really going to change. It's going to be at $198. But the 5% discount is not really enough to get the benefits because as you can see, as you increase the discount, you see that there's a total of 4. It used to be 4. Right now, it's only 3. It's 3 discounts. There's 3 discounts that you get if you add at least a 20% discount. Number 1 is the discounted strike-through price. There's a discount banner on listing and highlighted in emails, right? So there used to be, and this is what I was mentioning before, it's like they're constantly changing it, right? So what we do is we'll add some custom promotions where possible if the price is not going to come down too much anymore until check-in, because let's say I want to give a 20% discount. So that's going to bring the price down to $166. So in this case, we actually wouldn't do this because we want the price to stay the same. And so we'll be looking for dates where the original price is high enough that we can actually give the discount without changing the price. And by the way, the original price is, according to Airbnb, that's calculated as the median price over the last 60 days. Okay, so usually your prices will come down as you get closer to check-in date. A lot of times you will be able to add a promotion, and it's not the median price over the last 60 days going into the past. It's the median price of where October 6th was priced in the last 60 days. It's a little bit confusion sometimes around that. But so let me just apply this promotion real quick. So this price now goes to $166. This price is not going to change. okay, until you remove or edit this promotion, right? We have this promotion here now. This 166 is not going to change, which is why I like to use these discounts, these custom promos, only for last minute when the price is not going to change. Because, in a couple of days, maybe our price will come down, and then I'm going to have to change this custom promotion. But just to kind of show you guys what this looks like. So when I go to the Airbnb listing as a guest and I put in my dates of October 6th to October 7th, what you'll notice now is because I added the custom promotion, we now get a strike through of the price. So it shows the original price. As you can see, the 208 is congruent with what we saw in the back end here. When we look at this promotion here, we'll see original price 208. And so that's reflected on the front end here. You can see that here, right? 208 is the price. We get a strike through. The night is now priced at 167. And what you notice as well is there's a special line item that says special offer with a discount of 41.60. Now, in this case, we're actually giving a discount, right? When I remove this promotion, you'll notice the price will go back to 199. Okay. So you can use these promotions. One thing that you could do, especially if you're only on Airbnb, what you could do is you could remove the last minute discounts on your pricing tool. And instead you would add these discounts directly on Airbnb, because then the price, essentially you can set it up in a way where the price is the same. It's basically what you want to charge. But instead of discounting it on Price Labs, you're now discounting it on Airbnb. Obviously, the drawback of this strategy is that, number one, you can only do this on Airbnb, different type of discounts on Booking.com and other channels. But can you imagine how much work that would be? That would just be insane workloads, because you would have to go into Airbnb, Booking.com, all your listings every day. You would have to update all these prices. Then essentially it becomes like a full-time job if you have a significant portfolio. So that's the challenge. If you have one or two listings, like, you could do it. And I think it'd be pretty powerful. However, there's another way to offer discounts where sometimes you can offer a discount where the price actually doesn't go down, because the range that Airbnb calculates sometimes is more than 20% higher than the price that you pushing for your pricing tool. So let me see if I can find some examples of that. Sometimes you have to spend a little bit of time and kind of searching, but this is a good example here. We want to charge $169 here on the Tuesday, the 7th, and the original price on Airbnb is $199. So that means that I can either offer a 15% discount. As you can see here on the screen, 15% of $199 is about $20. So the price then drops to $169. If I add this promotion now, I get the strike through price and the discount banner. And by discount banner, they really mean like the actual line item on the price breakdown. They used to display that as well here in the breakdown of the promotion, but I know they took that out for some reason. But anyway, I could either offer that 15%. I will be highlighted in emails, but I honestly have no idea how powerful those emails are. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's really that important. To me, I think having that strike through and having the extra line item that clearly shows that guest is getting a discount, I think that's the most powerful part. So let's go ahead and apply this promotion now. So going back to the front end of the Airbnb listing, let me refresh it. And now if I put in my dates, so I'll put in October 7th. There we go. There's a 2-night minimum on that one because it's not adjacent to an existing booking. So we have the minimum night stay setting set up with adjacency logic. So if we have an existing booking, we allow a 1-night stay to connect to that booking. That's a whole different story. I'll talk about that in a different podcast. But anyway, even though I selected 2 dates now, you see I still get the special offer line item, even though I only added the promotion for 1 night, right? I didn't add it for the other night. Now, what could be interesting is to go back and see if I can add that promotion to the October 8th as well. We want to charge $159, and the original price as Airbnb calculates it is $199. So now we can actually add a 20% discount for the Tuesday. So let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see now that the Tuesday 7 and Wednesday 8 price has not changed at all. But if the guests were to look for those dates right now, they would see that first of all, we have our strike through back. Now it says $199 to $165, and it's now giving us 2 special offers. So 2 line items. So now the guest is going to see this and think, hey, we're getting 2 discounts on the stay. The original price was $199 and we're getting a deal. We're getting it $165. Okay, so this is powerful, but this is also a lot of work. And so if you are managing your revenue yourself, you have a sizable portfolio, it's going to take up half of your day to be adding all these promotions every day for all your listings. We have a revenue management team of 5 people. And so we have a lot of manpower to do this, but even for us to be adding all these custom promotions across all the listings promotions, every single day for all the upcoming dates will be too much. The way we do it now is we're just strategic with the promotions. We're adding them at a point where the prices are not going to change very much. So preferably like in the next week or so. As I mentioned, sometimes they're not available. So if you look here in September, for some reason, like these dates are crossed out by Airbnb. I'm not sure exactly why that is. There are a number of conditions that apply. And if you just look for Airbnb custom promotions, I can Google it right now. You'll find an article. Actually, I'll read out the URL so you can find it easily, but it's airbnb.com/help/article/2720. So if you type that in your web browser, you'll see that there's some requirements for custom promotions. Your listing must have at least 3 bookings, as well as 1 booking in the past 365 days. Dates must be unblocked at the time the promotion is activated. Dates also need to have been available for at least 28 days. So if you had your calendar blocked off for whatever reason, that might block it. Only 50% of nights per month can be promoted. Custom promotions can't be applied if you have regular weekly or monthly discounts in the listing. And one night's price can be higher than your highest book price from the last year. And then hotels are not eligible for custom promotions. So there's quite a lot of requirements for you to be eligible to apply these promotions. And this is why sometimes you look at your calendar and you want to apply some promotions, and like some dates are available, some dates are not available. What I recommend is if you want to start leveraging this, I would say, just schedule like 15 minutes a day and make this part of your daily routine. Go into your portfolio, look at your last minute inventory, choose the dates where the price is not going to change anymore, where you're already at your minimum price, or maybe you're close to your minimum price and you don't think you're going to need to change the price. Because again, once you apply the custom promotion, no matter what happens to your pricing tool, like the price is now fixed. It's not influenced by your PMS or your pricing tool, right? So that's something that you have to keep in mind. With that said, those are the topics that I wanted to discuss today. So I'm going to unshare my screen. Again, if you're listening to this and you want to see this in action, go to YouTube and search for Freewyld Foundry. And then if you look at the video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Of course, that will help us get more viewers to our videos. Also, these videos are pretty cool. We hired a video editor and she's doing an incredible job of making the videos kind of cool and fun to watch. So highly recommend you check it out. Freewyld Foundry on YouTube. If you want us to do a free revenue report, we've done hundreds and hundreds of these reports by now. You can go to freewildfoundry.com/report. Okay, what's going to happen is you're going to schedule a call with us to provide information about your portfolio. You will then give us access to your pricing tool. And then what we do, myself and my team, we will actually go into your portfolio. So we'll go into your pricing tool. We'll look at your strategy. We'll see where we find improvements. We'll also look at your marketing as well. So we'll look at your Airbnb listing, see if we can make some spottable improvements there, which usually we can. And then what we do is we invite you on a Zoom call, and then we'll walk you through all the opportunities that we see. And then if we think it's a good fit for us to work together, we'll give you an indication of how much we think that we can increase your revenue by taking the revenue management over from you. Okay, so this is totally free. So you're not committing to anything. We've had tons of operators who've applied where they decided to continue to do it themselves, but now they got some good advice on their portfolio. Feel free to go to freewildfoundry.com/report. Maybe we'll be speaking with you soon. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. The next one, next week on Monday, I'll do an episode also on OTA merchandising on booking.com. Booking.com, it gets very, very tricky because there's lots of different discounts that you can add and most of them stack. And so if you don't do it correctly, you might be giving away your units at a very low price if you're not careful. You also have to use a markup on booking.com because otherwise the price just drops way too far. So booking.com is pretty tricky, but we have a really good process now that we dialed in to optimize that channel. So I'll walk you guys through how we do that in next week's episode. So hope you enjoyed this one. Have a great week and we'll see you next time.
Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad.